Hello everyone, I'm Mickey.
And I'm Apollos.
Welcome back to our channel Novaxx. In today's video, we are going to talk about Ghost of Tsushima and we will be discussing regions and gameplay. And do not worry, this video will also be spoiler free.
Tsushima was beautifully done in the game. If you compare Tsushima from the game and the real Tsushima, you can see that it was done geographically correct. Of course, now it's more modern than before, but the natural beauty is exactly the same.
Yeah, like especially when you're traveling on foot or on a horse, whether it's day or night, there is always some sort of beauty to look at, whether it's in front, behind, or around you, and you just want to stop for a minute and just take it all in.
Even the colors during the sunset, holy shit man. If you check my screenshots of the game, I have probably 1,000 screenshots of sunset alone. The flowers of Ghost of Tsushima combined with the sunset. Oh my god man, it's a real beauty. I don't know if you know this, but there's a hidden animation where if you walk between red, white or sakura colored flowers, Jin Sakai start touching the flowers. It was really nice animation.
I did not know that. That's actually pretty cool.
You could also do it while riding a horse. If you are riding a horse between a field of flowers, you can see Jin leaning on the side and start touching the flowers.
I think that it was done just to show us how much he appreciates Tsushima.
It's really amazing to see how much he loves his homeland. That's why he's doing everything he can do to rid the Mongols from his home. Now each act has its own region. For example, in Act 1 is the first region that you play in. When you liberate the castle in Act 1, you move on to Act 2 and get to play in a different region. And so on. Now each region has its own beauty. For example, Region 3 is snowy compared to the others. Having said that, it does have some green lands, but Region 1 and 2 don't have any snow.
And if you noticed, Region 1 is more colorful than Region 2, and that was because the Mongols burned some parts of it.
Yeah, it's a shame, Mickey. Like, could you imagine how beautiful the second region would be if it was left intact? Unfortunately, this kind of thing does happen in any kind of war, and definitely very sad to see. By the way, Mickey, I just want to warn you. If you go to Region 3, the enemies there are much stronger than before. I don't know what they are eating there, but holy shit, they are difficult to fight.
I mean, could they be any harder than Legends mode?
No, because when you talk about Legends mode later on, enemies you face have abilities, but enemies in story mode have tactics and know how to fight.
If we can clear stories in Legends mode on Silver, then I think I will be fine.
In that case, bro, you are just fine. You can beat them easily.
You know what I say? Let them come. Now sometimes when you are roaming Tsushima, you come across Mongols where they're holding a hostage. Now obviously your goal is to save them. And once you save them, Jin will have a small conversation with them. And they will tell him where they came from. And in short, once you free them, they will give you locations for you to liberate from the Mongols.
Yeah, exactly. This type of things make the game a little bit alive.
I will say this, there were definitely times when I actually failed to save them.
Seriously, man? Now you are making Jin cry on the inside. We just talked about how he appreciates Tsushima, and you let him see a hostage getting killed? Seriously?
I mean, what can I say? After all, I did try my best. And remember that he is a man. He's not a vengeful spirit. He's not a ghost. He's just a man with flesh and blood.
Actually, he is. If you remember Yona, she said that he's a vengeful spirit. Man, he's the ghost. So you should be capable of killing everyone with him.
I really enjoyed that cutscene. I freaking loved it.
It definitely gives people hope, because now they have someone that is protecting them.
He's literally fighting against all odds.
Look at Jin fighting style. It's not normal at all. There is no one is capable of doing that except Jin Sakai himself.
Personally, I really love playing games where I get to play as a character that is trying to take down a huge enemy force.
Yeah, me too. Especially if the AI is really smart and they are fighting you with tactics, that would be great.
Unfortunately, that's a topic all on its own.
First things first, we have the 4 different stances where each stance is effective against certain types of enemies. For example, the stone stance is effective against the swordsman, the wind stance is effective against the spears, the moon stance is effective against the brutes, and lastly, we have the water stance, which is effective against shield wielding enemies. Having different stances make the game feel realistic when it comes to fighting. What do you think, Mickey?
Now for me personally, I actually just use one stance to fight all of the different enemy types, because for one, right now I am playing the game on standard, and that is because I want to focus on the story more, and for two, a lot of times you actually end up fighting different types of enemies at once, so it's really hard for me to actually get some space and choose a specific stance to fight that one specific enemy type.
For me personally, I do change stances in the middle of fighting, because when you hold R2, the time slows down, which gives you time to choose what stance you want.
But I definitely think that playing the game on hard and nightmare, stances will actually play a huge role and give you that extra edge in battle.
The thing is that if you stick with just one stance, there are 3 types of enemies that you won't be able to stagger. And it's really important to stagger enemies in order to remove their protection. I really hate it when I am attacking and they just keep on dodging or blocking my katana. That's why I need to stagger, then damage them with melee attacks. Now it's really nice that you could block certain attacks, because unfortunately you can't block focus attacks, which is the attacks that are colored in red. If they are focus attacks, you need to dodge. The best fighting style for me is to use perfect parry or perfect dodge, and I try so hard to be successful at timing it. Because if you perfect parry or perfect dodge, most often the enemy will be vulnerable, which leads me to damage them heavily or even kill them sometimes. By the way, for those of you who like to dodge and parry, there's a charm out there in Springfall Shrine in Act 1 called Mizo no Kami, which gives you a bigger window to parry, and perfect dodge. Now let's talk about skills. There are 3 different categories of skills, which are Samurai, Stances, and Ghost. Samurai have 2 different skills trees, which are Deflection and Evasion. You also have mythical abilities, which you can get from completing mythical tales. And you have exploration skills as well. Next, we have Stances, which we already talked about in details earlier. Lastly, we have the Ghost, which includes ghost weapons and evolving tactics.
Now personally, I really enjoy being the ghost, because there is just something about assassinating everyone in a fort and just leave without leaving behind a single trace.
Personally, I don't enjoy being a ghost, because I actually prefer to be a samurai. Having said that, being a ghost in certain missions is important. For example, having to fight 20 different enemies head on in a fort can be very difficult. I especially hate enemies that are wielding bows and arrows. They always interfere with my movement. I would be fine with other enemies types, but enemies with bow and arrows? Oh my god, I hate them.
Honestly, they are literally the ones that could screw you over the most.
Man, if you remember in Legends, they are the ones that screw us over the most. Because I'm focused on other enemies and out of nowhere an arrow hits me, break my combo, and all of my focus is bye bye.
That's why I actually kill them first and then focus on the rest later.
In the beginning, when I first started playing, I didn't do that, but eventually I learned my lesson. But in short, for me the gameplay of the Ghost feels very simple, but for the Samurai there is so much to keep an eye out for. That's why you picked Assassin and I picked Samurai in Legends. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe and comment your thoughts down below. We will see you guys in our next video.